Welcome back. We're in Woodmead today and we're talking about job scams and tender scams. And chances are we're all vulnerable to phishing, smishing. We're getting these messages. Some of them look innocent and benign, but can be potentially dangerous and very costly. So we need to be vigilant and be very careful. We're having this conversation to educate all of us. And a lot of us, the most vulnerable, are getting hit by these job scams in particular. And I want to come back to my panel now and just talk a little bit about what have you deployed in terms of trying to stop these kinds of things happening?
Clearly what we're fighting here, Peter, is a psychological as well as a physiological battle. Simply put, how do you expect a hungry person to think straight? He gets a call saying, I've got a job for you. A man hasn't been employed for a long time, or he's a businessman. He's never had a business for a while. Once he gets such a call, I think he doesn't think straight. He ends up jumping to it. Nonetheless, be as it may, as Transnet, we do have our ICT department that we are using to ensure that they help us in terms of fighting and trying to stop this. One of them, you'll find that they have a wall that is built just to make sure that it rejects anything that is not business-like. But remember, that wall would not read everything that comes through. Definitely there would be one or two that manage to escape and go to the attention of me as the reader or the receiver of the particular email, and it finds me at the right time. Then I end up reacting in this fashion where I fall into the hands of the scammers themselves.
So, Mr. Thomas, I guess a lesson to be learned here as well, especially if you own a business, is that things may be happening in your name and you're not even aware of it. So you almost need to engage with the public to make clear what your procurement processes are, contact points, and how to do it.
That is correct. And the communication thereof is important. So if you go onto our websites, there is basically areas that talk around procurement, how procurement works. Also, the operating divisions on their websites would have the list of tenders that have been published on the National Treasury e-tender portal. Some of the operating divisions might even list the quotations that have been requested. But the thing is, it's the training and the communication to the supply base out there is vigilance. Unfortunately, technology can be deployed within Transnet, but Transnet's just been targeted in name. It is the suppliers out there who are being targeted, and they are the ones who are suffering the losses based on the Transnet name. And unfortunately, you know, it is the vigilance of the individuals out there that counts. And Transnet, obviously, I mean, we've got ad campaigns warning people of the tender scams that are happening. And as well, I encourage everyone, please get to understand the Transnet tender processes. Come onto our websites, have a look at that. And as I said, we are also going to be making contact details available in the future where you can actually verify whether you have received a valid quote request.
Major General, there's somebody called Alexandra who's phoned us from Cape Town, and he's concerned because he's saying, look, twice he's tried to come to police authorities and said, look, there's the scam going on. And he says that he's told that, have you lost any money? And he says, no, not yet, but this is what they're doing. And then he's being dismissed. Are you waiting until a crime has been committed, or do you think that it's not spreading through the police service that we need to prevent as well?
Well, let me first say that what happened to him, coming from the police side, is rather unfortunate. But I think in the event of anybody going through similar experience with a police member who may be uninformed or inexperienced at that level, is how to deal with, how to advise the person. Instead of just keeping quiet and feeling now there's nowhere else to turn, I would ask that they also get in touch as a second measure. Get in touch, because in all provinces there are commercial crime units.
Right.
And this falls within the ambit of the commercial crime units. Is also as a second measure to try and contact their commercial crime investigating units. Because there you can go, it's not a charge of a setup, but in the event of having a concern where you feel you may be falling victim, or just to ascertain, is this a real thing? They can go to the commercial crime unit and also make the very same inquiries. And if they feel they are being shunted from pillar to post, every provincial commercial crime unit has a commander. Insist on speaking those commanders then, if you feel that one of these members are not giving you a proper service. But I'm sure that should they attend to any of them, they should be able to be receiving the appropriate
All right.
help.
So just keep going higher up the chain, essentially.
No, I'm saying
Yeah.
it's not as they must go higher.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they, like this, falls within the ambit of
Yeah.
commercial unit, or it may
Okay.
be at the charge office. They may speak with a person, a uniform member.
Okay.
So I'm saying they must also try and get in touch with the commercial crime.
Because they're better trained to understand the nature
They
of
are
these
more
problems.
better trained to understand
Okay.
the complex
All right.
natures of
Okay, I get you. Okay, let's go to Nkululeko Nembanes on table number 2.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ngululeko Ngubane. I just want to find out from the Hawks. I mean, we've heard today that most of these crimes actually are committed via cell phones. I just want to find out whether are there any loopholes in the RICA Act or RICA law? Because why can't we catch, these criminals? And the second one is, what are you doing about the pre-recut SIM cards that you can be able to buy from the robots downtown Johannesburg?
Okay, so this is where a lot of this drama is happening.
That is a problem. And it's a real problem. Because you do get pre-recut SIM cards, like you said. But the actual concern starts with these type of crimes. The pre-recutting of a SIM card is in effect a contravention of the Act. But these things happen, it's a faceless thing, and to get to know where it is happening. There we are busy investigating these things. It is an ongoing investigation currently, where we are having, because now we have to, where you have faceless crimes being committed, you can't just do it the conventional method. We have to do the unconventional, but lawful means of investigating that. And I can safely say to the gentleman, it is a real issue, it's a real concern. And it is one of the issues which are currently under investigation as to, because it is so high, because now it also circumvents certain things that we have to investigate, because people are now using pre-recut, or you have certain instances people who actually goes beyond the recurring to use that as a way of circumventing being identified in the commission of certain crimes. But it's an issue that we are dealing with within the subs as well as with stakeholders outside that we are working together with. But as far as we have gone now, we have not yet made a breakthrough, to be honest with that. But we are hopeful. And where we are going with the investigation, it may not soon, there may be a way where we get to find out how best to address this phenomenon that has now reared
All
its
right.
head.
In the
you know.
meantime, vigilance.
Vigilance, yes.
Okay, all right. Tsepang, is it Nkhatla? Mukhatla, table 10.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tsepang Mukhatla. I'm the founder and director of the PE28 Concepts Company. My question is that cybercrime is very dynamic. Today it's Transnet, Eskom, tomorrow it's another state-owned entity. What mechanisms can we use as crime intelligence to actually warn our people about the actual trends that are happening in this environment, so that they are actually aware that if it's not this one, it's that one, but the tactics are still the same? And I also want to ask from the state-owned entities that are here, will you guys be willing to actually fund a cyber protection conference that will build mechanisms to actually be able to defend our people? Because one thing that is very primary is awareness. Very primary. Before we actually look at actual technologies for protecting our people. One, mechanisms of making people aware, and two, the conference being funded. Thank you.
Okay, so let's start with you and then the companies.
Just to start with the mechanisms that the gentleman asked, what should be in place. I think the essence where one should start is to secure yourself. Because I say, if you apply ultimate security measures around yourself. I normally make the example to say, when you leave your house, nobody leaves the front door open nowadays. Maybe 50 years ago, we could have done that. But today, nobody leaves the door open. You ensure your door is locked, and it's... When you're in the street and somebody, you don't just give your ID to anybody to keep you quickly want to run somewhere. I think it starts within ourselves. Before we go anywhere else, is to secure yourself. Before you get a security company, you must be your first level of security. And I think that's where it should start. When we come to other measures of state security, that's where something has already happened for us to come in to secure. I think if companies, persons can first do the security within themselves, and I'm speaking security from, be it from a cyber perspective. Remember, cybercrime is just the method of how you were defrauded, how you fall victim. It is not the crime in itself. The crime is actually fraud. You have been defrauded. How? Your laptop have been hacked, your account have been hacked, your accounts have been taken over. That is the actual crime. The method of how it happened is by means of they used a cyber instrument. So the fact of the matter is protect yourself. Be vigilant upon yourself to ensure that I do not leave. If you have been on the internet, you can't leave the internet running and you quickly go do something else. Somebody else comes in, quickly does an email and send it in your name. Or somebody hacks into your email at that point in time. And that's where the whole thing starts. So I think it is just for us to protect ourselves. From a state perspective, yes, we do have, but we come in at the backdrop of what has happened. That's the problem, and I know we face a lot of criticism being too reactive. But it's the nature of the beast that we, as, let's say, the police we address, we prevent and combat. When we prevent, it is rather to say, this we use current trends to ensure it is minimized going forward. But the fact of the matter is, there will never be, we must be realistic, that we can say we will prevent everybody from, especially in the cyber sense, from falling victim. But it starts within ourselves.
Okay, response from the companies?
Thank you, Tsapang, for that question. There is an African saying that goes like, if you want to go quickly in life, you go alone, because you don't need to consult anybody. But the truth is, or the question is, how far will you go? But if you want to go far, you go as a collective. Therefore, what you are raising there, whether state-owned companies would be prepared to fund a conference aimed at fighting this crime, I think our answer would be, we want partnerships. We believe in any form of partnership, as long as the intention is to ensure that we defeat this particular crime that we are faced with. Therefore, as a company, we are saying any form of partnership is welcome. Any form of partnership where we can have the public, individuals, businesses, government, and anybody to come on board to make sure that we kill this particular problem that's facing us, we are game.
Okay, let's go to Neil. Is this Neil Naidu, table number 4? Yeah.
Again, to the general. Well, we had a lot of comments about, and I particularly want to talk about the job scams. The idea or the target market for the criminals predominantly is the youth, the unemployed, the uneducated, and so on. I've been personally seeing all state-owned companies. I don't want to mention them here now, but on a daily basis. Facebook is the most common media, and the methodology they're using is sending it to one, who forwards it to the other, who forwards it to the other. Eventually, there's over 1 million people that have got this. And all they have to do is reply yes, and they will get an opportunity for a job. But the yes actually gives them permission to go into their profile, see the telephone numbers, make contact with them, and encourage them to start sharing, and that's where the whole relationship starts. So I think on a more technical perspective, do we have access to communicate with these social media houses to try, as soon as it's picked up, that we can start either blocking those addresses and things like that and shutting them off? Because if we close the market, we close down the sketch. Thanks.
Major General?
Yes, there is a method where we communicate with this. But you see now you have the hosting. And for us to come in, like I've said, it sounds like a broken record now. we come in the back end of something that has happened. Some of the reports that I have now fallen victim, and I started here. And now we must make inquiry, we do our investigation, we get to where it leads us. Then if it is found that there are certain criminal aspects or unlawfulness in what has transpired where it did, then we can actually ask them to block that registered person who actually started this thing or who's now identified. But it's always at the back end of it. And it's you get an instrument like Facebook. They have their own business interests.
Yeah,
We have
yeah.
gone to certain levels where we have asked them to go out on their own drives. And it has been done with mixed successes. Some have adhered and came on board with us in doing certain things. Others have said no. We can't because we have certain contractual obligations towards certain people. We can't generalize in this sense to do certain things. So there are also commercial interests that plays a role. Yeah. But we say, and as far as the law is concerned, we have now gone to say even the application and to ensure how we can enforce the compliance to the POPI Act, because that's where these things, people find themselves compromised.
Okay.
But to answer the question, it has come with mixed level of successes. Some is cooperative, but most are not. And I think it just causes us for vigilance from
Yeah.
the users again.
All right. I'm going to take a quick break, but maybe just before that, how well are you doing in terms of finding these people and convicting them? And I would imagine that it's really difficult if the guy is, in a bedroom in the Ukraine and is busy scamming here. It becomes hard to find these people because they just disappear overnight, literally.
It's very difficult because, remember, you sit with a faceless type of a crime. The person you interact with a virtual person who sits somewhere on the other side of the world. Now, you have done your investigation. Yeah. You get to find that this person sits that side. You work now with an IP address that side, not yet a face. And now you have to start interacting in terms of the law, where we have these mutual legal agreements with other countries. And that is in itself a very tedious process to follow, but we have to. We can't just phone the FBI today and say, I need you to assist me with that. There are certain government protocols that we have to follow. And that's tedious, and to some people who have lost money, for them it is too long. They need immediate remedy. And that's the unfortunate part of it.
And I would imagine, Mr. Thomas, anybody who asks to send money via money transfer and not a proper bank account, that's a red flag. Yeah.
Transnet has moved in the direction where historically we would charge people for tenders because we do put in resources in the creation and development of tenders. But now with the National Treasury e-tender portal, our tenders are available for free for download off the National Treasury portal. You can still come to our offices to collect the tender documents, then we just charge you a nominal fee for the production of that.
Okay. All right.
But definitely no money transfers.
Okay. We're going to take a quick break now. When we come back, Sabelo is going to be sharing his thoughts with us, and then we'll also track what you're saying on social media. Stay with us.